Good morning, everyone. My name is Karolis Bogdanas. I'm a senior key account manager at GET Baltic, and I would like to welcome you to GET Baltic webinar number 2. It's so nice to see you so many attending, and today I will be a moderator of this event from the start till the end, and I hope that the upcoming 2 hours will be a good opportunity for all of you to deepen your knowledge. Since March, we have started the series of webinars to provide you with the updates on the GET Baltic integration to EEX process and guide you through the transition phase. So again, welcome to GET Baltic webinar number 2, trading and settlements. Before jumping to the speakers, I would like to briefly overview the previous webinar main information, and then we could come back to the speakers. So let me share the slides, and I will be very quick. I hope you can see pretty well. And last time we have shared with you that the full integration of GET Baltic is expected to be by the end of first quarter of 25, and GET Baltic customers would have an access to European market as well. European participants will have an access to Baltic-Finnish market. And what kind of expectations and what should be done with this in the upcoming quarter? So market participants will get new and modern trading infrastructure, new long-term products, new clearinghouse services, as well. Of these 3 pillars, they will get new trading opportunities. In addition, what you are having for the GET Baltic market participants right now, it's only GET Baltic, and later it will be European Commodity Exchange and European Commodity Clearing will be operating as separate entities to ensure the security of all transactions. In addition to this, the GET Baltic customers will be provided 2 models. One of them it is if the customers would like to trade only with spot markets, so they will be having a direct clearing participant model, and for those who will be trading with the spot and derivatives, they will be offered non-clearing member. And to overview the admission process, so those market participants who will be willing to get through the overall admission process, so please let us know. Firstly, you have to contact the GET Baltic sales team, and then together with the EEX customer care, we will be happy to provide you all the documents, the relevant documents to smoothly go through this EEX and ECC admission process. And we have talked about the admission packages. One of them is for non-clearing members. So this package is expected to provide to market participants in the end of second quarter. So you will be having common forms like Know Your Customer, KYC, as well ECC forms, EEX forms, and reporting forms. And for DCP, the same procedure with the EEX forms and the reporting agreement, the same as you could see in non-clearing members as well. KYC and ECC forms will be sent later, and it's expected that it will be provided in the end of third quarter of 25. So in general, we expect that all the overall integration will go live in the end of first quarter of 25, and GET Baltic and EEX and ECC specialists will guide you through the overall process. So thanks a lot, and by the way, for those who were not able to attend the first webinar, more detailed information as well presentations, webinar recording are available at GET Baltic website and section trading, and you would find the Baltic-Finnish gas market integration into EEX, or the easiest way, call to Karolis and or write me an email, and I will be happy to share with you. So now it's time for our speakers. Just to remind you, all the possible questions that you might have, please write down them in section Q&A, not in chat section, please. And we will, together with our colleagues from EEX and TCC, will be happy to answer them. So not to waste your time, I would like to invite my colleague Roman Zuzev, EEX Senior Professional Sales Gas, to present two topics. The first one is exploring the dynamics of trading, and later another topic, financial settlements and invoicing. Roman, please, the stage is yours.
Good morning, everyone. From my side, my name is Roman. I'm working in gas sales in Leipzig, in German office. Today, as mentioned, I will be presenting the two parts. One part is a trading related, another part is ECC part. This is a, let's say, post-trading related. I will start EEX natural gas, exploring the dynamics of trading. Just to start, maybe a brief overview about our gas markets. As you see on this map, with the market areas of the countries where we are present as EEX. So in the most markets, we are present on the spot and futures markets. The physical spot market is a market to trade where you need to be a shipper. So on the spot market, we offer hourly products, we offer within day products, we offer day ahead products, weekends and individual days. We do also have in most of our markets, we do have also our physical futures market. So it's an exchange where you can trade futures directly on exchange, or you can register OTC deals, or like, let's say, bilateral deals or broker deals. You can register for clearing. So here we have monthly futures, quarter futures, season, and calendar years futures. We offer next 12 months. We offer next 7 quarters, 7 seasons, and next 6 years. In addition to our physical gas futures and in our gas markets, our standard futures are physical gas futures. That means that if you don't close the position, it will go automatically into delivery. In addition to these physical gas futures, we also, since few years, we also offer cash settled gas futures, which are settled versus our spot index XE, where in addition to like standard products like monthly, quarter, season, calendar years, we also offer daily, weekends, and weekly futures. These cash settled gas futures are offered for Germany, they're offered for TTF, they're offered for Austria and for UK. Also, in addition to our trade markets, we do also offer spreads on a spot markets and on a futures markets. So we offer, like, so we call them locational spreads. So the most common locational spreads would be TT, TTF spreads, the difference between markets in Germany and in TTF. We also do offer time spreads, but it's only for futures. For example, you can trade winter summer spreads, which is quite common in the market, and you can also trade some first month, second month spreads. Quite recently, we want to enrich our gas offers, so we actually started offering also LNG products. So we do have a cash settled JKM futures. JKM stands for Japan Korea marker. So we offer like JKM futures. for our Asian clients also, and we also launched quite recently TTF in dollars because mainly LNG is traded in dollars. And just maybe the last information, it's about trading hours. So the spot products were traded 24/7, and the futures products are traded on business days, 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. CET. And of course, well, you see here the GET Baltic countries, which we will, Baltic areas in Finland, which we will integrate as in Q1, as Karol has already mentioned. Brief overview about the volumes on the spot and futures markets. As you see, the gas markets have developed quite well in the last years. So we have a tremendous growth in 2022. The growth was continued for 23, and it looks also quite positive for 24. And just also to, when we speak about statistics, it's very recent statistics from March 24. So you see here the volumes are in terawatt hours. So you see all our spot markets and the futures markets. Obviously, the biggest market is a Dutch TTF market on spot, but also on futures. Like briefly, so despite the quite mild temperatures, the spot volumes are growing. In the most of the spot markets, we have very big, or quite decent market share. We have above 97%, around 97% in Netherlands, around 95% in Germany or in France. In futures markets, our market share is from 10 to 50%, depending on the market. And its futures markets are also growing, and they're quite well balanced. So it's like a good split between traditional physical utilities and new financials or algo players. We see quite a decent split between screen and trade registration. We also see a split between outright and spread trading. Obviously, the biggest gas market in Europe is a Dutch TTF, but we see recently that the German market has grown very fast. And we see that the German market will be probably the next big thing. So we are supporting the development of German markets with some initiatives and market makers. And just to wrap up here, we have also volume discounts for all our gas futures, which are right now a price list. It was a practical part. I will go right now to a more theoretical part and explain the segmentation of a market and how the trading works. This is the slide which shows the segmentation of a market, and I think it's important to explain what we mean by spot versus futures, because not in every market is quite obvious. So for us, the spot market is where markets where it's a physical market where payment and delivery take place within the next 2 days. On a gas spot, here we have hourly, within day and day ahead products. Once the derivatives market, where is everything above 2 days. It's where the market where financial instruments are traded, the payment and delivery of a commodity take place in the future. Here is a trading landscape of EEX, and this slide may be a bit complicated. And it's not only about gas, but I think what is relevant for gas is actually that if we speak about backends, our futures market is based on T7 backend, which is let's say kind of our native backend. So it's a backend of Deutsche Börse system. It's our mother company. And our spot market, gas spot market, is the backend is a Trayport system, so it's not native backend. What is relevant for front end? So basically, if you would like to trade gas, so you have a choice between Trayport systems, Joule or direct connectivity, or TT, or trading technologies. This slide has a kind of very simplified view on the front ends, which are available for gas markets, and the functionalities which you have with every front end. So in fact, if your company is already the Trayport client, so you can just integrate the EEX markets into your Trayport screen, and with a Trayport Joule, you can trade gas spots, you can trade gas futures, power futures, emissions. You can also integrate over venues, and but in this case, there's an extra license which you pay to Trayport, which is applied. We do also offer direct connectivity to EEX. So the companies who are not clients of Trayport, they're using Joule Direct for EEX. So it's a direct connectivity to EEX. With this connectivity, you can trade gas spots, you can trade gas futures, you can trade also power futures. And there's no Trayport license which needs to be paid to Trayport. So in this case, you just pay for trading connectivity directly to EEX. And then we also have a TT. So TT stands for trading technology. It's a screen which is used for futures markets. So with this screen, you can trade gas futures, you can trade power futures, but unfortunately, with this screen, you cannot trade gas spot. So here I have some screenshots of different screens. I will start with TT. Again, the TT is the system which is very commonly used in financial markets, trading equities, for example. So financial traders, they know the system. The system is very sophisticated. It has a lot of possibilities. You can integrate a lot of markets. It's like a chartering. You can create lots of charts. Again, there's a limitation, as already said. With this system, you can only trade futures markets, but you cannot trade spot. This is the Trayport Joule, and this is like, let's say, to simplify this, I would say rather the companies who are quite big on a futures markets, and actually who are quite big on different market areas, and which are trading a lot of futures in lots of market areas, it makes sense to have this system. Because what is a Trayport Joule? It's acting as an aggregator. For example, you have a connection to EEX, you have a connection to another exchange, you also have connection to the brokers. So what is actually Trayport Joule is doing? It's basically, it's acting as aggregator. So it's integrating the prices of different venues in one screen. So for example, instead of having 10 screens of exchange 1, exchange 2, different brokers, you have everything in one screen. And you see, for example, it's an aggregated view. So you see, for example, the best price is from EEX, second best price is from brokers, third best price is a second broker. So it's, again, this screen makes sense if you're active on a futures market, and I would say Trayport Joule license is usually very big utilities which have it. I mean, if you are planning to trade only spot markets or just beginning to trade futures markets, actually the Joule Direct, so direct connectivity to EEX markets, is absolutely enough. It has the same functionalities. It's actually have everything. So once you will be registered, usually it happens that every registered trader, so the trader will receive 2 emails. With one email, they receive the link to upload the software, and the second email they receive the email with a login and password data. So they need to enter login. So probably once connected, you will probably need to change the login the first time you connect, and then you're already in. So here is the order book display. There's a layout. So you see here the spot and futures markets. So you see within day, They had, you see weekend, Saturday, Sunday, then you see also the futures markets. And I think it's quite important. And well, you see obviously the markets, TTF, PEC is a French market area, TET, Trading Hub Europe, it's a German market area. TGH here, it's a Austrian market area. So in fact, what is decisive here? It's decisive the colors. So there's a kind of standard Trayport colors, but of course you can change it in the, well, if you want, you can change it, but normally people just keep it. So the colors are saying, so red order are tradable, the pink orders are not tradable. Why the markets cannot be tradable, for example, if you don't have the right permissions at user level. So the blue or green orders are implied prices, and implied price stands when the price is created out of the spread. So the implied prices were generated from 2 or more orders which are coming from other markets. So let's say there's an implied price on TG TTF spread, which is created from Trading Hub Europe, from German market, and from TTF, the Dutch market. Okay, so there's an order entry, how you can put an order. So basically, it's important to notice we have a all or nothing. So for example, if you want to trade, let's say 20 max in one shot, so you have to put this functionality all or nothing. So if someone wants to trade your price, he needs to lift the whole amount, the 20 max. Then we have different expiry types, like good till cancelled, which is probably the most common expiry type. And then you have also something like good till date or good for day. And then once you enter the order, you have to validate. Well, there's a deal order, so it enables you to hit the best limits with an option or partially or totally lifting the volume at this order, if not all or none. Then you also have a functionality if you would like if you need some volume, so you actually can just have a deal quantity. And this functionality allows you to deal part of the first best limit or go into the market depth. So you can like hit the first and second best price if you need some certain volume. Actually, all or none, what happens? So all or none orders allow only to entire volume to be traded. So enter all or nothing order, ensure that the all or nothing checkbox is selected before you add the order. So when you deal the quantity, if the best limit is all or none, you can either go over it or include it, depending on the quantity you want to trade. How you can see the order in the market if it's all or nothing. So it's usually displayed with some star. So if you see an order with a star, it means like in example here below, you see that actually, well, it's a 50 with a star. So if you would like to lift it, you need to lift the 50. You cannot lift 20 of this 50 because it's all or nothing. What happens if you would like to, you need just 20 and the best order is a 50 with all or nothing. So basically you have to use the this functionality of deal volume. And basically it will overpass the best order and will execute the second best order. So as mentioned, when using the deal volume functionality, traders need to have in mind that if the volume is inferior to the all or nothing order, it will bypass and match the next order. And maybe you wonder, because in the screen below you see Pegas. It's basically Pegas stands, it's how we are visible in the market, because the Pegas was the brands, it was pan-European gas market. So how you see our markets in the screen. Well, as already mentioned, we do have spreads. So sell order on a spread means that you want to sell the first hub and buy the second hub. So it's usually, it's always like the less liquid hub is the first part of the spread. The most liquid hub, which is always TTF, is the second half of the spread. So what you're gonna see always in the screen, you're gonna always see TG, TTF spread, not TTF, TG, because TTF is obviously the most liquid market. And actually, this implied order is shown in the blue color. So once you actually click with the mouse on this order, you're gonna see like you can investigate the price. For example, this selling TG TTF within day, you see where it comes from. The price comes from TG within day, and sell and buy TTF within day. Okay, so we do have a kind of outright, and we do have implied spreads. And actually, on this picture, you see in light blue, you see it's an implied. Well, the upper. It's an implied spread untradable. Why it could be untradable? For example, if you have permission only to trade TG market, the German market, but you don't have permission to trade TTF. So basically you will see the order, but it will be for you untradable because you don't have a permission. In pink, it's our trade spread untradable. When in pink and highlighted in green, it's an outright spread belonging to the trader. So you see the spread which basically you posted. Then in blue, there's tradable implied orders that come from outright orders in the respective markets. Here, TG and GTF. And actually, once you execute the spread, lifting or executing one of those will result in two trades. Well, X-Gas breaks it in two legs, which corresponds to the slave and the master hub. So the slave hub is a kind of less liquid hub, and the master hub is the more liquid hub. So once you execute the spread order, in the deal confirmations, you're always gonna see like two deals. So it's like selling TTF, buying TG. It's always like this. And of course, once you trade it, you can, as a trader, you can always have a possibility to see your done deals. You can see the deals which belong to you, the deals which are belonging to your company, so are differently highlighted. And okay, just also the trading system allows a lot of different functionality. For example, you can also put something which is called trade alert. For example, basically once it's being traded, the trader can receive, and not only trader, maybe some back office can receive some confirmation when it was executed. I mean, usually it's not a big deal because trader anyway can see his deals. This trader alert functionality is rather probably for some shift guys trading during the night periods, and sometimes they put some order and they don't know when it's executed because liquidity at the night probably it's not that liquid as during the day. So once you put an order, it's been executed, you get some confirmation. There's also a functionality which is called order alert. So for example, if you were again in the nighttime and some maybe not liquid market, the market is empty. So you can say, I would like some order alert. So if someone arrives to the market, puts some orders, you get some notification that someone is in the market. But this functionality is also rather for shift guys for trading 24/7, active on weekends or during the nights where it's not so much liquid. And trade cancellation. So what happens if you want to cancel your deal? Let's say if it's kind of it was like a fat finger, or you put some wrong price. So there's a trade cancellation fee for spot markets. It's 1,500 euro, which is applied per cancelled transaction. And for futures market, it's depending on the contract. So it's 1,000 for monthly contract and until 2,500 for yearly contract. how it works with cancellation. So basically you have, as a trader, you have to call our market operation personally. Email is not sufficient. You have to call our market operations. For spot, you have 10 minutes to call, and basically you have to cancel. Even like during the night, there's 24/7, so you can always call this number. For futures, you have even less time to call, so there's a 5 minutes to cancel the transaction. And actually, it's a quite different on cancellation on spot and futures markets. So on spot, once you want to cancel transaction, it will be canceled. Once you won't like to cancel it, on a futures, it's a more complicated. There's a kind of missed trade range. So which are published on X websites, which you can see for every product. So basically, if price is within this missed trade range, it will be decided by the price committee if the deal will be cancelled or not. But if the price is outside of this missed trade range, let's say it was really fat finger, some extra zero, it will be also cancelled. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Next slide. It's about algo trading. So it's quite common that basically all algo or automated trading. It's quite common that in our spot markets, which are very liquid now, some kind of automated trading is used. It could be something simple, something like position closing, for example. Instead of having own shift team during the night, you can have some algo which will kind of execute some position closing once the prices hit some area, you can just close it. But it could be also kind of some sophisticated automated trading strategies, storage optimization, whatever. For spot markets, since we are using a Trayport as a backend, to use the algo, you need to get access to Trayport API. And actually, well, via this Trayport API access, you can basically connect your own, let's say, in-house software, or you can also use some kind of vendor for algos. This is something like Trayport, AutoTrader, Volue, and some other companies that are also using it. On futures markets, there's also there's some kind of TT screen. It also offers some kind of functionality of automated trading. So it's automated trading. It's getting more and more important. More and more companies are using it. Okay, and I come into end of my first part, and it's about I was speaking about the trading, but what we offer beyond trading. So we do have also like risk analytics software, which called Lacima, which is Lacima is a part of X Group, and it's like a software and advisory services. So for example, if you need some kind of calculate value at risk of storage of some kind of swing contract or even LNG contract, so it's how this software offers different functionalities which you can use. And what is quite recent, and especially it's interesting for futures markets, that's basically the Lacima built also kind of very customer-friendly margin calculator, which you can see where you can see your margins. You can see like your margins on the futures markets. You can see the status quo, but you can also do some simulation. What will happen with your margins if I put some position? For example, I have position on power, I put some opposite position on gas. So how the margin will react. So so we also offering, in addition to trading infrastructure, we also offer risk infrastructure and margin calculator. And I think this is Okay, maybe it's the last slide. So if we speak about trading, so what we offer, we will offer for GET Baltic members, or trading offer for Baltic-Finnish markets. So we will offer the win-day products for Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, and Finland. We will offer day-ahead products, and we will offer also the spread between Lithuania and other hubs, most likely TTF or maybe TG, but it's still to be confirmed. And of course, we will offer the futures markets the same way we offer it already for our markets for Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, and Finland. And we will offer the locational spreads between Lithuania and some liquid hubs. And I think this is the end of my trading part. So questions?
Excellent. Yeah, excellent questions. We have, thank you, Roman, for a very informative presentation. It was so much info, and
right,
hope
I need to drink something.
Yeah, the audience will have to review several times to understand all the material. By the way, we got two questions. The first one is from Alexei Fimayer. Thank you very much, Alexei. Are there any front-end solutions that are available on smartphones?
Well, I mean, well, being honest with you, I think, well, the Trayport tool may have some functionality which they offer, but usually, and actually it depends also on the risk politics of a company. Even sometimes there's a kind of trading system available on smartphone. Usually the risk management of a company forbids to trade via the smartphone just because it's and what is sometimes some systems, trading systems are offering, we're offering like a view only. So we're like at least the authorization rights, trade on the smartphone, just the view only possibility, but not trading. So I mean, it's not really offered and it's not very common so far.
Okay, thank you. For those guys who would like to ask the question, please use the Q&A session. One more question. Will it be required to have a balancing service agreement with local TCO to trade TTF or TEG futures with physical delivery?
Very good question. So basically to trade spot markets, you need to be a shipper. So here even there are a few possibilities. You can use your own shipper code. So you can get it directly from Trading Hub Europe, let's say for Germany. You can also use a shipper code of some kind of partner. So it's a third-party shipper code. Speaking about the futures, and especially speaking about well, TTF, obviously the most liquid market, there are two possibilities how you can trade TTF. But first possibility, you can trade how you can trade TTF even without being a shipper. So first possibility is to trade TTF futures. You have to conclude the closeout agreement with a clearing bank. It's a quite standard agreement. Well, basically, it should be signed with one of the clearing banks which you will choose. And under this agreement, you agree that you have to close the position certain days before the delivery. It's possible. Actually, this possibility is used quite a lot by financial community, which are not shippers, or it's used quite a lot by the companies from Eastern Europe, which are also not shippers, but would like to profit from this liquidity. So first possibility is, I mentioned, to trade physical TTF. It's to do with a closeout agreement with a clearing bank. But in addition to this, you can also trade cash settled TTF futures. Liquidity is not yet is not that liquid so far, but actually liquidity is growing. So you can also trade cash settled TTF futures. You don't need any shipper code, and you can trade it until end of month. And we actually seen recently several members are joining, and actually very likely that we will have a in some time also market maker for our cash settled gas futures, so liquidity will grow. So there are two possibilities.
Okay, thank you. We have additional questions from Marco. Let me see.
Yes.
Just a second, delete some technical. There were questions from Marco. The first one was, what are the costs associated with the EEX, JAL, and Latima?
Okay. I can tell you how much you pay for our direct connectivity. So basically, if like it's a standard cost, it's a part of a price list. Our pricing to get trader success is 175 euro per month per trader. Basically, is 2,100 euro per year per trader. It will basically it's traders access, for example, for TT screen or for Joule, the direct screen. If you would like to use the Joule, this Trayport Joule, the solution which is well, mostly used by futures guys and by big companies, in addition to what you pay to us, you will need to acquire a trader a license from Trayport, which is a provider of this Joule aggregator software, and the pricing you discuss directly with Trayport because it's between you and Trayport. But if you just want like to trade our markets, the prices on a price list, it's a 175 euro per month per user. And for Latima, it's very individual. It's basically belongs which kind of unit you want. If you want kind of storage optimization, or if you want some kind of LNG unit, value at risk. But I think with like a margin calculator, which is also offered quite recently. I think it's something like around 1,000 euro, something like this per month. But you can also, if you have some questions about Latima, you can send me an email, and I will connect you with Latima people, so they will directly come back to you with information on what they're offering and the prices.
Seems a little bit that the Q&A section is a little bit broken. Probably it will recover in several minutes. So I see additional questions from chat section as well. We got would the EEX front end solutions function at iPad? I think it was the similar question that you already answered.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got two more questions from Volker. Can you explain the change over from existing to new system regarding tenor? Will be monthly products for Q2 25 already be in tradable during the first quarter of 25? And when will be which products be activated?
It's a good question. I mean, I think right now it's plans that, as Karolis already mentioned, that we will be live end of Q1. But well, the dates we will communicate later, and it will be later also obvious when the first product will be available. So I would rather let it to the project management team.
Okay. And probably the last question, what are the product definition, in particular day ahead and weekend? Will Friday's day ahead will be following Monday as it handled as TTF, ETC, or will stay day +1, day +2, ETC?
Well, what I can say, the idea is basically to have a same setup as we already have for our markets. So just basically the same setup as we already have on our existing markets.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I can elaborate, Karolis, also a little bit, I can mention that indeed the products will be tradable just like the other spot markets at EEX. So when the Baltic-Finnish market areas are launched on EEX, the spot market products or the spot market contracts will, for instance, the day ahead will be tradable the same way that TTF and PEG, for instance, are tradable today at EEX. So on Friday, the day ahead in a regular week will be Monday, and also Sunday, the day ahead is Monday, and then Monday, the day ahead is Tuesday. Except, of course, if it is a special bank holiday situation. And one thing to keep in mind here is that on EEX, as generally in the European natural gas spot market, we follow the UK holiday schedule. So we are always open for trading. You can always trade, but the logic of tradability follows the UK holiday bank calendar.
And just to add, we also have a trading calendar which is published on our website. You always can see on that day if it's some holidays, on which dates, for example, if it's like longer weekend when it's day ahead, so you can always see in case of holidays some kind of trading information. Or colleagues from market ops also sending just before big holidays, we're also sending some kind of market information about tradability.
Perfect. So by the way, the audience, please use again a Q&A session. Seems everything is working. So thank you, Roman, for the first part. I hope that you are ready as well for the second part.
Okay, so welcome again. So I hope you have still some patience with me. So the first part, as mentioned, was a trading part. So the second part is actually post-trading. What happens after the deal is executed. So I will start. So it's actually, you see, it's even the slides used of ECC of our clearing house, and the title is a physical and financial settlement in invoicing. So a brief overview about our clearing house ECC. It was already said, but generally ECC is the main functions is it's assuming the counterparty risk. ECC is a CCP. ECC is in charge of financial settlement, and ECC is also in charge of physical settlement. Just, well, it's a very general slide, but basically what I will tell, but also very much beyond, can find any information on the ECC website. There is information about physical settlement, about financial settlements, about invoicing, about margining. There are copies of invoices, for examples of margins calculations. There are big, very detailed documents explaining the margining for spot market, futures markets. There are webinars you can see. So basically, definitely worth looking into ECC website because there's a lot of information. So to start is, what is the physical settlement? I mean, what is the role of ECC in physical settlement? So ECC is well, ECC is not organizing delivery as you may think, but what is actually physical settlements is about, it's all about nomination. So what is ECC? Once the deal is concluded, it comes to ECC. And what is SEC, our clearing house, is doing? It's sending net nominations to the relevant power and gas grid operator to initiate the physical delivery. So the role of ECC here, so ECC stands between exchange and TSO, power or gas TSO, and ECC sends the net nomination, and only the TSO organizing the delivery. The trade information is gathered from the order book trading on exchange or trade registration, and then it's best to ECC. So ECC aggregates nominations per market participant and delivery period. Well, here's hourly, 30 minutes, 15 minutes. It's actually, it's about, it's a power market. So for gas, we don't have 30 minutes or 50 minutes products. And actually, TSO confirms the correct matching of nominated schedules by both the market participant and ECC is its counterpart. So there are different nominations which being used on different markets. But actually, what is good to know that actually for gas markets, ECC using usually the single site nomination. That means that actually only once you trade, only ECC nominates versus TSO. You as a market participant don't need to nominate. It's only ECC nominates. On power market, it's quite different. So it's a priority rule. So it's ECC nominates and the market participant nominates. And if there is a mismatch between two nominations, so the rule of ECC has a priority. Okay, so I go to the next slide and I will speak about financial settlement. As already mentioned, ECC is a central counterparty which is guaranteeing financial fulfillment and carries cash clearing for all transactions concluded on ECC partner exchanges. And it's not only EEX, it's also Apex Spot, it's Q+A in Hungary, it's a SAPEX in Serbia, and there are like more exchanges. So ECC is a separate company and which actually helps ECC to provide also services for third parties. ECC cooperates with international banks, the clearing members, clearing banks. So you can find the whole list of the clearing banks. It's about 30 well-acknowledged banks which are registered with us as a clearing members. ECC also cooperating with settlement banks like multi-currency payment banks. But for euro settlement, the transfer is done via robust and reliable T2 or TAJ2 infrastructure of the European Central Bank. And ECC is also approved as a designated payment system according to directive of European Commission. And ECC also holds a banking license. What is important to say that basically the whole process of invoicing and fee settlement across all of its products, markets, and asset classes is harmonized. So this is the process of financial settlements. So financial settlements in euros taking place on every ECC business day, which are Monday to Friday, except T2 holidays. The trades are netted out into one net payment amount per clearing member or per clearing bank. And there's a kind of ECC established a daily booking cut, which is at 4 p.m. CT. So what means that all trades which are concluded before the booking cut, before 4 p.m., are financially settled on the next ECC business day. So it's on Monday. So the trades on Monday concluded before 4 p.m. will be financial settled on Tuesday. And traders concluded after 4 p.m. on Monday will be financial settled with T+2. So will be settled on Wednesday. Payments in euro are processed around 8 a.m. CET before market opening, and actually all the trades which are concluded on the spot markets of all exchanges are imported into ECC clearing system, which is called SMSS, after trading. So I will go more in details here. So ECC member area or SMSS. So basically ECC member area is a kind of gateway to ECC services. It provides you access to your daily business operations. On here you have information about online view transactions. You have a possibility to subscribe to reports. So you can also put some data. If it's data of a person in charge of invoicing, you could put some data of some kind of people in charge. You can have access to internal delivery accounts for emissions markets, for carbon markets, and you can also put some limits. The member area of ECC is free of charge, but you need to ask for access with a certain forms, T10 form, so you can also request this access directly with colleagues from our member readiness department. And actually, if you would like to have very detailed guide, the detailed guide of member area, I think 30 pages or even more, it's available on the ECC website, and you can just study it, and you need some more detailed information. But we'll also like show what is the main things which are available here. So basically report subscription. So it's a reports on transactions, on a payment, deliveries, invoices, or margins, where you can subscribe under report subscription. So once you're in the member area, you have to choose which kind of report you want. And for example, you can have a possibility between the invoice report, which goes on a monthly basis or on a daily basis for different possibilities. And reports are offered as detail reports or the summary reports. Detail reports, so it's on a daily basis, and summary reports, they're only monthly basis. And there are two formats available, so it's a PDF or XML format. And this is just a bit more information about your reports. It's a delivery report, a trade report, payment report, margin report, for spot markets, margining, collateral report, and invoice report. You can, again, as mentioned on ECC website, you can read more through reports which you are interested in. You can get the copy of a report, so you have all the available information. And this is what is also important. This is an online view. So basically, you can also see the spot market transactions and delivery instructions from expired futures online. You always can go into the system. You can put some filters, and you kind of can filter your deal, which is quite useful, and it's live. And well, let's speak about the invoicing. So basically, ECC, our clearing house, will create the monthly invoices on the 5th business day of the following month. So it will be like for right now we're in May, so the invoices will be created for May on the 5th of June. ECC issues invoices for clearing fees and commodity amounts. The invoices can be sent by email or download link, or can be accessed via FTP access. You can also subscribe to certain reports, as already mentioned in the member area. And actually, the fees they are debited on the 10th ECC business day of a following month via the T2 or commercial bank account of a participant clearing bank or settlement account in case of DCP, direct clearing participant. So, well, speaking about invoicing, I think it's, well, there are two major groups on invoices on clearing fees. One is a delivery invoices and one is a trading invoices. And actually, it's quite easy to distinguish between them because delivery invoices, it contains all purchased and sold commodities with physical delivery. So it's basically, it's a spot transactions, intraday transactions is for power markets, or it's a future expiries. And important to note, so invoice is based on the delivery day of a concerned transaction. On the oversight, this is kind of trading invoices. It contains all derivatives, market products, or financially fulfilled contracts. Here is also important to note that invoice is based on the time step of a concluded transaction. So one is a delivery day, on another day, it's a trading day. And just next slide, this is about, well, it's basically an example how our trading and delivery invoice are looking. It's a bit summarized view. You can have, again, the examples on the ECC website. And maybe one of my last slides here. So basically, as already mentioned, ECC provides fee settlement for its partner exchanges. So ECC collects the fees on behalf of exchanges from participants via the clearing or settlement banks. And very often that basically the invoices are issued by partner exchanges themselves. But also ECC provides this invoicing service. So basically what can ECC also do for its partner exchanges? ECC can generate the invoice for each exchange trading and send it to participants for different possibilities. And I think this is the end of my presentation. And this is a slide not really about ECC, but it's a slide, once we speak about invoicing, I think it's also important to say which kind of, this slide shows you the fixed fees invoices. For example, once you have annual fees, so the annual fees are paid every quarter, as you see here, as well the technical infrastructure. So basically, once you have a trading screen, it's being paid every 3 months, as you see here. And well, also reporting for financial regulation or remit reporting is also every 3 months. Okay, so I think it was from my side, and I'm looking for your questions.
Thank you, Roman. I was just already checked the Q&A session. So participants, don't be shy. If you have a lot of questions, so feel free and use an opportunity to use it in Q&A section and ask it. So we have one more question. Will the volume available for cross-border trading decrease during the day depending on the remaining transmission capacity for the gas day? Are there any limits at all? What volumes could be traded cross-border? So probably the question might be to Henrik.
Yep.
Right, I can take this one. So it's this relates a little bit to implicit capacity allocation and what happens there. And indeed, this is also something that we are very keen to offer at EEX once the Baltic-Finnish market areas are offered for trading at EEX. We also would like to have ICA or implicit capacity allocation. More details about exactly how this will be implemented will be given as soon as all stakeholders have agreed on the final model. We are indeed trying to keep here changes to a minimum so that it will be as similar as possible to how it is today. But the exact details of how it will be, we will present at a later stage.
Thank you. I will check again if we have additional questions. Seems to be like none. Okay, then if you see, yeah, good. So, by the way, yeah, excellent. One more shouts and applause to Roman for very nice presentation. And Roman, by the way, have a nice flight to Warsaw.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your patience. Have a nice day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
So thank you one more time for Roman. And also the next topic will be, as we have passed the second part to this. So the next topic will be understanding the trading limits and collateral requirements. And I would like to invite one more speaker, Florian Dorgerlo, ECC Senior Clearing Operations Officer. So welcome, Florian. The stage is yours.
Thank you very much for the introduction. And the first thing I will need to share the presentation. Okay. Suppose everybody can see it. Then hello also from my side to this seminar. I will talk about trading limits and collateral requirements for NCM and the DCC model. First, I will talk about NCM model, so the non-clearing member. We have our non-clearing member, we have ECC, and we have the clearing member CM. So between these three, we have a trilateral agreement. ECC is clearing as a clearinghouse, clearing the trades from the non-clearing member. And from these trades, from these positions, payment flow will arise, which ECC is forwarding or is interacting with the CM. The CM will be then forwarding all payment flows towards the NCM. Any collateral requirements which are needed because of positions and trades, ECC will get from the CM, and the CM will on their part will pledge or will ask for collateral deposits from the NCM. So the CM needs to be a financial institute, and very important is that the CM is liable towards ECC for the obligations arising from the trading activity of its NCM. And therefore, with this responsibility comes also risk, and there are some tools for the CM to mitigate that risk. So on the spot market, the CM can set pre-trading limits. That means they can set that for every single spot market. The NCM is possible, allowed to trade. And that means that there is that limit, and the NCM cannot put in orders which would go above it, or even like trade above that limit. Orders above that would be rejected. There's a very nice document regarding the ECC limits and manual for all the different spot markets, where it will tell you about what are the synchronization times, what are the default limits, because for some markets the default limit is unlimited. For other markets, the default limit is 0. So I strongly suggest to have a read through. It's linked into this PowerPoint. So the CM is defining the limits for the NCM, and they do that on their own risk analysis, and it's nothing where ECC is involved. The second part that actually comes from the trade history of the NCM, ECC will be calculating collateral requirement and will ask the CM to deposit collateral to offset that margin. The CM will then forward margin requirements towards the NCM, but how exactly they will forward it, that is part of the CM-NCM relationship. And now I want to dive into more detail of the spot market margins and how they actually are built up and made of. So for the spot market, we have two major margins, and they can be categorized once into the current exposure and once into the potential future exposure. So for the current exposure, we have current exposure spot market. We call that SESM. And the other one, for the potential future exposure, we have the initial margin spot market. We call that the IMSM. So to talk at first about SESM, the SESM is calculated every 10 minutes and is floored at 0. So if you would do a lot of sales for positive prices, you would not have a negative SESM. It would be actually 0 on the account level. At the end of the trading day, so because the trading day always goes from 6 o'clock to 6, from 4 o'clock to 4 o'clock. That's when the booking cut is. We will, and then once we have calculated the actual payment for the next day, 6 o'clock, we will book out the SESM at night, unless for storable commodities like EUA certificates. And then the next morning, once there is actually payment, the current exposure is reduced by that amount that has been paid. And therefore the SESM will be booked in at that time and will also be reduced by that payment. I have a little picture later on which will show that a bit better, and then it makes a bit more sense. The interesting part is, why do we actually need a potential future exposure if we are trading on the spot market where delivery is within the next 1-2 days? For that, we have to keep in mind that the spot market trading is possible 24/7. Meaning that we can also generate exposure during times when we cannot do intraday margin calls. So for example, night times or weekends, if there would be a high exposure, there would be ECC at risk. And to cover these exposure windows as well, there is a so-called IMSM. And the IMSM is designed to cover the expected exposure between the last booking cut, which is at 4 o'clock, until the next day 4 o'clock, in the morning 8 o'clock when the payment would be, and then actually when would the person be suspended in case of a default, that would be noon. So this is the entire window the IMSM needs to cover. And the IMSM is calculated once per business day at 3 o'clock CET. I already mentioned the time window that the IMSM needs to cover, because always for the IMSM the basis is the exposure. And it's shown here again that it's from 4 o'clock until next day 4 o'clock. The payment would be at 8 o'clock the next day for that previous trading day. And then in case there would be no payment until suspension would be, that's why it needs to be covered until 12 o'clock. So this is the exposure window, which we will always look into. And we want to cover with the IMSM potential future exposure. And to know the future, we need to look into the past. So we will calculate this exposure per day, per every trading day. We will look at this exposure, even so it goes over multiple days, and have like a number of, okay, this will be the exposure for the current day. So we can do that for the last year until yesterday. For today, we cannot do that because we couldn't know the exposure of tomorrow. Therefore, for the current day, the cutoff time would always be 2 o'clock on this business day, because we're calculating at 3 o'clock. We do the IMSIN calculation. So now we know the exposures of all all business days from the last year, and from this year. That still doesn't give us the IMSIN. So now that we know the exposure, the IMSIN you can split it into 3 parts. The first part is actually, we will now look at a statistical component. So we calculate the mean value for the entire last year. We calculate the standard deviation, and we multiply the standard deviation by a parameter, which we call alpha, and then we add that to the mean. And this value, the statistical component, will cover most of the exposure. However, if we now think of a scenario where someone would be trading very, very little for the most part of the year, and then the last 2 weeks would start building trades a lot or builds up a very big exposure, that statistical component, which we have calculated before, wouldn't be enough to cover these very extreme values in the last few days. That's why there is a second part of the IMSIN where we are just looking in the last 30 days, and we look what was in the last 30 days the maximum exposure, and we multiply that maximum exposure times better. So we call that part now maximum component. So we have the statistical component and the maximum component from the last 30 days, and then we compare which one is actually larger. Is it the statistical component? Okay, then we will take this part and add on top the minimum component of 50,000 euros, or is it actually the maximum component of the last 30 days of the trading? It's that one. Okay, then we take this plus 50,000 on top. And these parameters of alpha for the standard deviation, or beta for the maximum exposure, or this minimum component of 50,000 euro, is actually daily backtested and is also validated yearly, and can be, in case of needs, in case it doesn't cover the exposure, could be calibrated, but that would be communicated. And now I promised a picture which hopefully explains the spot margin model a bit better. And therefore, we consider the following scenario. Let's say we have an NCM which is doing some buys continuously. So we would have the exposure which would be continuously increasing, and that is trying to be displayed by this red line. Yeah, we see that over time we have this red line. The client is continuously buying, so the exposure is increasing continuously. At 4 o'clock, we have this. We want to calculate the payment for the next day from this trading day. So we have been calculating this until 6 o'clock, and then we will book out the session, so we book out the session overnight, and can't do at this time margin calls anyway. So in the next morning, we look, has a payment be fulfilled? Is it successful? Yes, and the payment is successful, and then we book in the session, but we have it reduced by the amount of the payment, by the successful payment, and therefore, and then the session can increase again throughout the entire day. It's monitored. At 4 o'clock, we do the same thing again. We are looking, okay, what is actually the payment, what needs to be paid the next day. 6 o'clock, we will book out the session. Next morning at 8 o'clock, we have the payment one. The settlement will be successful. We will book out the session, and it will start again. And we can see that we're booking out the sesame in the evening at 6 o'clock, and at that time we have, or for the entire time, we have the Imsen, which is always covering and it's always above the sesame during that time. It is possible that the sesame could be larger than the Imsen for one day, but then the next day the Imsen would be calculated and would be and would increase again and would go above the sesame. And then the Imsen, which we see here as a white block, is always supposed to be higher and supposed to cover always these exposures during the time window when we have booked out the sesame as well. So the sesame plus the Imsen together are the two margins on the spot market, the two major margins on the spot market for the NCM, the non-clearing members. I have on our website, or I've added here some very useful links. We have the guide to margining. This is also, it's a little presentation where there are also numbers, examples for the Imsen and for the sesame and also for other margins where you can recalculate, where it's really like, okay, some trade examples and how would the Imsen and sesame be, so that you can calculate it almost in your head and to fully understand these margins better. We also have a document for a very detailed margins explanation for the spot market, which can be found on our website. And we also have that. We also have on our website a tool which you can use to simulate the Imsen margining, and that's also on our website and is linked here. And now we talked about the non-clearing members, where the collateral requirements and margins are calculated based on the previous trades and the CM, and which ECC is forwarding to the CM. And we talked about the limits which the CM is setting on the spot market based on their risk analysis, and so that the CM can mitigate its risk towards its NCM. The next model which we're offering is the DCP model, the direct clearing participant. And there we actually have a bilateral agreement between the DCP and the ECC. We also have some bankers involved. So there's a house bank of the DCP, the so-called connected bank, and the forwarding bank or settlement bank, which is currently ABN AMRO. But these have no they don't play any role in case of default, or they don't have act as like guarantors. They're only there for the payment flow. And because we don't have any other guarantors, we need to have pre-collateralized limits as a DCP. We have developed this model to be a smart entry for small to medium-sized companies to enable trading opportunities on some selected spot market. You cannot trade on the derivative markets as a DCP. And you can picture this as like as I already said, it's a collateralized pre-trading limit. So a prepaid method. We all know prepaid methods in our private life, most decently in the phones. You put some money down and then you have a certain amount of minutes and text messages which you could use until the money goes off, or if you used it all, used up all your minutes, and then you need to recharge it. So it doesn't work quite like that, but there is a similar, and it doesn't work quite like that because we have some major differences which we need to incorporate. First of all, we don't only accept cash as collateral, but also guarantees, which is quite a difference. We have every day, every business day, we actually have limit resets on the market. That means that you have that limit and the exposure from the previous day is booked out. We have a time where we actually don't know the exact exposure from the previous trading day. And you can trade on multiple markets if you are set up for that. So German power in the UK, for example, auction, continuous, just to name a few. And we have on business days daily payment runs where you have to fill up and pay for the exposure and for your trades you did the previous day. And because we came up with all of these differences, we cannot just use a prepaid phone model, but we have developed something more like a dynamic limit model. And how that day works, I want to show here. So the trading day starts at 4 o'clock on the spot market, and there we have a limit reset. And also at the same time, it's a part where we don't know the exposure from the previous trading day. If you consider the continuous market, maybe on 15, 59, 59, you could have trades and done a very and generated a very big exposure, which you need to pay the next day at 8 o'clock. So therefore, we cannot just reset the limit to the high limit, which is what before. The only logical conclusion would be we need to reset the limit to 0. But if you want to be trading on the spot market with 24/7, to have a time window where you cannot trade, a limit of 0 would be very unfortunate. So we have created something which we call the base limit. The base limit is something that the user can define themselves, and it starts at 4 o'clock. So basically at 4 o'clock, the advantage would be your limit doesn't go to 0, your trading limit, but it goes to this defined base limit, which the user can define. The important thing to know about the base limit is that the base limit also needs to be, because we give it blindly, even though we don't know the risk from the previous day, we give that base limit blindly. That means we were also always withholding it. So we are already blocking part of the limits for the next days. I will show that a bit later, then it's a bit more obvious. But therefore, you need to know that you should define the base limit as low as possible, but as high as needed, because the base limit affects the overall trading limit. Okay, so now 4 o'clock, your limit is 0, or your limit is at the defined base limit, whichever was defined by the user, if they wanted to have a base limit or not. At 6 o'clock, we then finally actually know the exposure from the previous day. So we can update the limit because we can give the user collateral that was not used on the previous day. And to visualize that a bit, I created a little pie chart where we see the entire pie that would be the collateral that ECC has, that the DCP has given us. And one part, the user has defined a base limit, which we were giving blindly at 4 o'clock. To give something blindly, we need to block it. So this is, we are blocking the base limit for the next days. Okay. The next part is we know the exposure from the trading from 4 o'clock until 4 o'clock from the previous day. Like, okay, these were the buys and sells, everything netted together. Like, okay, this is the amount the DCP needs to pay the next day at 8 o'clock. And what is left? That is actually then the trading limit. So that is what we can then give the DCP as a trading limit. So there will be a big update at 6 o'clock in the evening. And what I've displayed here visually, I also wrote down as this equation, just whoever likes math more than any visualization. And then, because of the dynamic limit update, we have the payment run the next day. And once the payment from all the trades from the previous day, from 4 o'clock to 4 o'clock, were successful, the exposure reduces. Someone has bought a lot of power, paid it the next day, then we have that money for that power. We don't have the exposure anymore of that. So if the exposure reduces, the trading limit can go up. And that's what you then see here. If we go back to the pie chart, you see the collateral, the exposure is now 0. Yeah. So the it's just still the blocked base limit for the next day is still part of it, but the rest can be given as a trading limit. And therefore, after the payment, the trading limit will actually be the highest possible, and only it would not be equal to the collateral if there's a base limit defined. So now the question is, what can the user actually do to increase, decrease the trading limits besides the trades from the previous day? Obviously, more collateral can be pledged, yeah, or reduced, whatever the DCP decides. Is there's a time where less trading is planned, less collateral can be pledged, collateral can be released, or a very interesting time is upcoming or price increases, a higher trading limit is needed, then the DCP can just pledge more collateral, and therefore the trading limit will increase. So the second part is, I already mentioned it, the base limit, yeah, at 4 o'clock. This base limit at 4 o'clock, if you want to have there a lot at 4 o'clock immediately, that means we will also need to block more for the next or for the upcoming days. So therefore your trading limit later on in the updates would be a bit lower because we need to block more. However, if someone decides I actually don't need a lot, this is the bare minimum I need, then at 4 o'clock the DCP would have a lower limit, but later on would get larger updates. So there's something that needs to be decided by the DCP and is dependent on the trading strategy. And as a last thing, I already mentioned you can work over, or you can trade over multiple markets, and therefore the trading limit, the user can define how do I want to split this trading limit over multiple markets, and they would actually tell us the percentage-wise how much should go to make it A, B, or C, and that's how it would be split, and that can also always be adjusted by the user. If they say after some time, like, oh, actually now we want to move more of our business to B instead of A, then they just need to tell us. There is a form on the website they can fill out, and we will adjust it accordingly. If they want to, if they need an increase on all markets, obviously the change or the split for the different markets would not work anymore. Then more collateral would need to be pledged. And here some useful links also for the DCP model. So there is a PowerPoint which gives a very rough overview and introduction in general of DCP model of all different aspects. There is also a very in-depth and detailed presentation regarding collateral and limit just for DCP, because all different markets have a bit of different characteristics, and that one is explaining it for every different market. What you need to know for DCP, and what I want you to take with you, it's a pre-collateralized trading limit. We're accepting cash or guarantees, and this is something that's adjusted by the DCP. There is not a minimum limit that's required. We have a dynamic limit system, so up to 3 times per day we're updating the trading limit. The first time at 4 o'clock we will lower the limit to 0 or to the base limit. At 6 o'clock we will update it based on how much collateral was actually used on the previous day. Not that much was used, then we can update the limit to a very big extent. Very much of the collateral from the previous day was used, then only a small update will be given. And then the next day after the successful payment, we will update the limit again because the exposure has been reduced and now the limit will be at its maximum. And I already mentioned it, the base limit is something the user is defining and is useful to be able to trade from 4 o'clock onwards until the next limit update. And it should be as low as possible because it has an effect on the maximum trading limit, but it also needs to be as high as needed because it doesn't help you if you cannot trade after 4 o'clock, even so you need to. And with this, I want to thank you for your attention. And I'm curious if you have any questions regarding collateral or limits for the spot market for NCM or DCP.
Thank you, Florian. It was amazing presentation and a lot of information. So we market participants should overview it, and if questions arise, let us know. By the way, please use Q&A sections. I will check again if we have more questions. Okay, so I see one question: is the exposure net, sell, and buy, or just purchases?
No, the exposure for the same product group will always be then netted together. There are some product group where there is a delivery risk where it will not be netted. But this will be the detail exactly for how it will be for each product group. You can find on our website for that a detailed document for the spot market margining.
Thank you. Seems to be no more questions. So thank you very much, Florian, again for your presentation. And we still have two more topics to present today. Now I would like to invite Henrik Sørensen, EEX Senior Business Developer, and Julian de Mostier, EEX Head of Data Sales and Customer Care, who will present us the fourth topic, exploring indices. Henrik and Julian, please, welcome.
Thank you, Karolis. So Julian and I will introduce you to the indices and what we have on offer and how you can use it, what you need to do, and how you can access the data. I will start by giving an introduction to the natural gas indices specifically, and then Julian will go into details on how to get hold of the data and how to use it. So let me just share my screen. So I will start by giving a brief overview of what we have on natural gas indices today at EEX. Then I will give an introduction to what we plan to offer for the GET Baltic markets once we launch these markets for trading at EEX. I will briefly touch upon the differences between what you have today at GET Baltic and what you will have in the future. So let's dig into it. First of all, what is this really all about? And to sum this up, I use our CEO here, Peter Reitz, CEO of EEX. He has a quote here: "Reference prices established by EEX increase transparency in the energy markets and strengthen the participants' confidence in the trading process." This is really the essence of what I want to share with you today. Why are we even bothering to publish these reference prices, the indices, other market data, settlement prices, benchmarks, you name it? Why do we do this? We do this because we believe that the market participants should be as well informed as possible, and they should have reliable and transparent data to base their decisions on. Of course, as an exchange, our core product is providing a platform for you as market participants to match your trading needs. But as a byproduct, a very important byproduct of this, of course, we generate data, market data, and this in comparison to the OTC market on the exchange, this data is made available for you to analyze, to base your decisions on, to predict future choices, and to assess past choices. So that's why it's important for us to publish not just the traded prices and the volume, but also to give you reference prices that are reliable, rule-based, and something that you can replicate yourself, and your business partners can replicate this and trust that this comes from a trusted partner. That's really what it is. What can you use it for? Of course, it's up to you how you want to use it. These are just some examples I list here. I think you know better yourself how you use it. But of course, we need to keep an eye on why is this relevant for you, so that we can provide the best reference prices possible. Maybe sometimes we have to adapt the methodology or introduce a new index. And this is something that we certainly always want to keep an eye on, making sure you have what you need. And we make the prices, we make these indices available on our website, so that you can use it internally, and you can also, if you use it in your relationships with your business partners, you can refer to it. They can check it on our website and see that this is indeed the established reference price that you decided to use. And where does it then come from, all this? And I already touched upon a little bit upon that. It comes from you, from trading on the platform. You enter orders. The orders are matched. You have a transaction, you have a trade. And this data is then what we can use, both as raw data, of course. This is something that you have access to, raw market data, but we also calculate indices. Some of them become benchmarks when they are used as underlying for a financial instrument. We apply extra strong methodologies so that they are compliant with the EU benchmark regulation. So that's why you will see that some of them are labeled as benchmarks. They are just like indices, but under a more stringent methodology and change procedures. So the data is generated, we process it, and then we distribute it to you and to other clients, to vendors who distribute it further. Julian will get into more details about this. If you are interested in seeing how this all plays together, we try to put a bit of this information together on our website. There's a link here. This will give you an overview. Here you find also links to where we put the documentation, all the methodologies, indices, benchmarks, and settlement prices have different, that they're regulated in different ways. So we have also different methodologies or different documentation for the methodologies. I try to collect this all in one page with a little bit of description of each. So you can find heads and tail of this. So really, what is it then we offer today? We offer various indices on our markets across our both our spot markets and our futures markets. Here I color coded a little bit within day ahead, and futures, meaning that those indices that are based on within day, as I separate them from those based on day ahead and those based on futures. And indeed, you can actually see here that I keep saying indices, but on this graph here at the bottom on the futures, you see settlement prices. Technically not an index, it is a reference price. But just to let you know that we do distinguish here for legal and regulatory reasons. They are not, we don't call them indices, but of course, from your perspective, it's just it's another reference price that is just as valid. It's up to you what you want to use based on the methodology. So what is important to us is that the methodologies are transparent, they're published, they're rule-based, and you can trust that this can be replicated. If you have the raw data, you can replicate the prices and check that it's indeed correct. So we offer on within day, we have our within day reference price, and we have also two special indices that are published on our website for TTF, a neutral gas price that actually considers not just within day, also day ahead, and then on ETF, also a neutral gas price strictly within day based. Just to mention what's on within day, on day ahead, and these are by far our most used indices. We have EOD, which is a closing price index. We have our XE, volume weighted index throughout the trading day, and the NDI, which is also a volume weighted index on the trading day, but calculated every day for the next day. And then of futures, we have also transaction-based or trade-based indices. We have the EEX daily, and then a monthly EEX based on the daily. And finally, the monthly index, which is actually based on the daily settlement prices throughout the front month. As the front month is tradable, we establish a settlement price every day, and then at the end of the month, we calculate an index. So this is a retrospective index looking at how was what was the value of the front month throughout the month when it was traded. And also just to mention here, of course, we are always eager to make sure we have the indices that are needed for the market and the future markets, which is why I also mention here our Hydrix, which is a market-based green hydrogen reference price for Germany for the moment, just for Germany. But of course, this is something that we are looking to expand further. Not natural gas, nevertheless still relevant and handled within our team, making sure that we have what the market needs. So what is it that we are going to offer for the Baltic-Finnish markets once they are traded at EEX? This I show here on this slide. We will have there is a slight mistake here, I see. So we will not offer the ETF neutral gas price, of course. We will have one within-day index. It's called the within-day reference price. This will be calculated for each of the market areas and is based on all the transactions in a certain period, volume weighted. Then we will also offer on day-ahead contracts, the EOD, the EXI, and the NDI. And on futures, the EEX, as well as the monthly index. And of course, as we will also launch futures, there will be settlement prices for the futures. So for the front month, the front quarter, the front season, the front year, you will always every day have a daily settlement price so that you know what is the fair value on the exchange for trading on the exchange these futures products. So if I go a little bit into detail here, the within-day reference price is important if you are used to trading at GET Baltic and also use the indices. I think it's worth mentioning here that the within-day reference price is the most similar index to the BGSI. Keeping in mind that the BGSI considers both within-day and day-ahead trades. There is a tendency for this BGSI to correlate quite a lot with the within-day because it's the within-day market is more active than the day-ahead market at GET Baltic. But this is still something to keep in mind that it's not an exact copy, also because it's only based on trades between 8 in the morning and 6 in the evening, Central European time. The EXI calculated for every market area as well is a possible alternative if you are used to using the BGSI day ahead, both the daily and the monthly. It's calculated every day for the next day ahead contract. So on Friday, it will be calculated for Monday. On Friday, we also calculate an EXI for the weekend based on the full weekend contract. So this is a little different from the BGSI day ahead, but also quite similar. Then something you don't have today, it's a little different from what is offered at GET Baltic. It's our end of day index. It's a closing price that we publish, not that we close the markets because we are open 24/7, but at 17:15 to 17:30 in this calculation window, we calculate based on the order book situation and transactions in this period, an index that is to reflect a closing price. Of course, you can continue trading after this, but here you have a price that reflects a shorter period of time so that you have this as well and can compare across markets. Something that might also be interesting for you is our next day index. the next day index is quite similar to the EXI. The main difference being that it's calculated every day for the next day, hence the name. And that means on Friday you're calculating for Saturday, Saturday you calculate for Sunday, Sunday for Monday, and so on. Keeping in mind that here you will have less, if you have a less liquid contract, for instance, a Sunday contract, you might have a more up-to-date reference price, so you're closer to the actual delivery, but maybe based on fewer transactions. So this is definitely something that you need to keep in mind. So you should make your own analysis, what is most suitable for you, the NDI or the EXI, but just to let you know that they are slightly different this way. It's a possible alternative if you're today using the BGSI day ahead. Now we're going to futures. I won't say so much about this as I know the webinar is running out of time. But here you have a volume weighted average price of all transactions in the front month future for your for the relevant market area, and we also calculate here an average at the end of the month based on the daily averages. This is something that you can use if you are used to using the BGMI. The monthly index is similar. A little different. It's not based on transactions. It's based on the daily settlement prices, and the daily settlement prices have a very specific methodology. It's published on our website. I encourage you to read this. And here you get always a price so that we can assess the value of open interest on the futures market, and we use this also to calculate the specific index. So what does this mean for you? Of course, when we launched the Baltic-Finnish market areas at EEX, the old indices that are calculated by GET Baltic today will not be offered at EEX, but instead you will have the EEX indices that are also available on our other market areas. So you need to be aware that, of course, choosing the right one, the one that fits your needs. Here as an example, we compared two indices, again here with a bit of color coding. So red is the next day index, NDI, calculated with the EEX methodology, but on transaction data from GET Baltic in this period, compared to the actual BGSI day ahead for the same period. As you see, there is some variation. And this is due to the calculation window. It's more narrow on the NDI than on the BGSI day ahead. But nevertheless, quite clear that it's not a very big difference, but something that you need to assess on your own. Let me stress that this is just an example, just to show you how this looks. Of course, we will assist with the difference in methodology and so on, but at the end of the day, it's also for you to assess on your needs. What is it that you need? What kind of reference price are you looking for? And then check that against the methodologies and choose the right index for you. Here, I also compared the BGSI with our within-day reference price. Here you see there's a slightly more difference, and here, besides just having a difference in the calculation period on the two indices, the underlying transactions are also broader on the BGSI, as they include both within day and day ahead, whereas the within day reference price, WDRP, only looks at within day trades. So with this brief summary of what we offer at EEX, I hope you got some idea of what we have. I'm happy to take questions, and then also my colleague Julian will say a few words, and if other questions come up in the meantime, don't hesitate to write them in the Q&A.
Okay, so let's see what kind of questions we have. I see more questions are coming. By the way, audience, if you see that you have questions not related to these topics that were presented by our speakers, so also please let us know those questions, and here are the opportunity to get the answer from our experts. So first of all, I will start with the question. I see Alexei is very active today, and Marco as well, so thank you very much. Could you please specify the time zone for the period of time when end-of-day indices are calculated? Is it from 17:15 to 17:30 Central Time or Eastern Time?
Yeah, so in my slides, the ones I just shared, it's Central European Time that I use. This is the time that you will see in the documentation on our website, where we use the Central European Time Zone. Of course, when we calculate our indices, and other reference prices, we do this across all the markets in the same way, so that you can compare, so that you get the most value from the indices as possible. This means that for the Baltic-Finnish markets, the indices will be calculated at the same time. So also 17:15 for Central European Time, and for you then this would be 18:15.
Excellent. Thank you. One more question. Oh, it's very critical. BGSI sometimes is not available. Will the day-ahead published by EEX become more reliable? Thank you very much for the critics.
Can I hear the beginning of the question again? Sorry.
BGSI sometimes is not available. Will the day-ahead published by EEX become more reliable? Very subject.
Yes, so I cannot say about the BGSI how this is, but for sure, and you will see this in the documentation for the indices, that we have fallback procedures. So the XE, for instance, is based on transactions, and usually there will be at least one transaction throughout the day. If you do not have any transactions, and this is quite unlikely, or at least on our most liquid markets, this never happens. Of course, you can never say never, so we have a fallback procedure. And this for the XE is that we will take the EOD index, and there's always a price for the EOD index. So it's generally based on the order book situation as well as transactions during the short 15 minutes calculation window. If there is nothing in the order book for whatever reason, then we establish a price committee, and market operations will establish the price based on this committee and take fair values from contributors to make sure that we still publish a price every day.
Thank you. We have two more questions. Additionally, what index do you propose to transmission operators to replace as basis for balancing price calculation?
I would prefer not to give a recommendation here. This is something that need to be assessed looking at the methodologies and choose what fits best. This we can take bilaterally, I would say.
Okay, and probably the last question for this part: what's the index when there is no trades at 17:15?
Yeah. So for the EOD index, if there are no trades, so in any case, it's always a mix of trades and the order book situation. If there are no trades but orders, it's based on orders alone. If there also are no orders, we have a price committee and we collect fair values from this committee to establish the price.
Okay, excellent. I see no more questions, but by the way, yeah, feel free to publish them and we will try to answer them. So I will give a word to Julian, and thank you, Henry, for your presentation.
Yeah, thanks, Henrik. Thanks, Karolis. And regarding the publication reliability, I can say we can not only compute any index with a high reliability, we publish them also reliably. Let me give you also an overview about not the content of the indices and the prices we publish, but also publication and provision as well. So, tell me when you see it. We good, Curtis?
All good.
Good. So, as Henrik said, one of the main commitments we have at the EEX, next to providing a reliable trading platform, is as well the commitment to price transparency. And one part of it is what Henrik explained, is how we compute new indices, new prices every day to make the price of energy and other assets transparent. But that would not be sufficient. So we need also to find a way to communicate them, to provide them. And as Henrik said, the main one of first area where we act to provide the price. The price is our website, but next to it we have more data availability for visualization, but also for integration, and on top of that as well as a trading support. So we are committed to visibility, as I just explained. We have a flexible data delivery. That means that you can stream, integrate, visualize, analyze with the EEX market data services, but also we have different kind of granularity and latencies. User-friendly, that means not everyone needs to have a PhD in computer science to integrate the data. Some of the data we provide and services we provide are easy to use, straightforward, and ask for just a couple of minutes of installation. Licensing is also, I would say, a big debate in the field of exchanges. So what do we provide as a support to allow our users, consumers, and traders to use the data the way they want? Not everything is allowed, but we made it as easy and safely, also safe on the legal perspective for our users to process and use the data. So these are our solutions. So these are the technology we can provide to visualize integrated data. So on the left-hand side, you see the API desktop of an Excel tool. Those are within their data. So it provides not only the end of the settlement prices, but also provides the trades within a day as well on top of the order book. These are provided in a very low latency. That means that within seconds or even less than a second for the desktop app, you receive the latest trade for you to visualize it. But for the API, within a few seconds, so 4 to 5 seconds is what we have computed here. You can see the data, get them, and integrate them to further processes. Regarding the SFTP server, these are the end of day data that we provide in Excel format, so CSV and XLS. It's particularly suitable for indices, for instance, what just been presented. That means that here we just open you an access on our server and you just pick the file there, and you can directly work on it as this typical Excel format. We also have what we call transparency API on the right-hand side. Transparency data, I'll come to that later. It's another kind of transparency that we can provide to the market. It does not only allow you to follow the prices, but it also allows you to get the fundamental data. So in other words, how much was generated today in power for Stern market. On the top right-hand side, so in red, you see the latest amendments to our new services, which follows the market's development, especially, and has been talked before by Roman, the algo trading and automatic trading. So the CloudStream API for gas spot today does provide you with stream services to listen to the market in the lowest latency you can possibly do based on today's technology, with all the trades, all the other book in a rather easy technology to integrate, which is the WebSocket API. So that's the gas spot market. It means that it's 24/7 streams, so it never stops. The A7 analytics, it provides kind of the same granularity. So you got all the trade, all the orders with time stamp, down to the ninth digit after the comma, and it's especially suitable for algorithmic trading or really in-depth market discovery. So you see the whole order book, you see the best trades moving as you were sitting next to our servers. So it's really like a co-location experience with not the same latency, obviously, because we're talking about petabytes in terms of data volume that we integrate here, but with 15 or 1 day delay. But it also provides you a way to retrieve those data to integrate within your services in-house. The big advantage of the A7 analytics and what fit our commitment to transparency, also to making the access to market discovery a little bit more democratic, is that we have database everything for you. So there is no need of normalization of data on your side. There is no need of a new database, new servers, and so on and so forth. It's a web-based solutions, means that you connect and you can see the whole market. Last but not least, on the bottom right-hand side, we have customized solutions. Long story short, we have a lot of members are interested to fulfill transparency obligation on their sides, and they've been asked, they have come to us for help, because as a neutral market actor, we can provide as well safe prices. And we provide these customized solutions, which is a graphical representation with a table representation of the prices for their own customers. Typical use case, utility that needs to provide transparency to the client on what is the price that they sent in invoice. When it's based on EEX prices, we can provide transparency on that side. So here you see, I'm not going to go through every cell, it doesn't make any sense, but you see a little bit, it is an overview of the different latency we have and granularity per servers and per commodity. Transparency API, I showcased it quickly. Transparency API is our service for fundamental data. That means that EEX collects throughout Europe generation data or consumption data regarding the energy consumption and production. This is extremely important when you want to assess your prices on the spot or on the futures market, as it gives you the volume of energy provided, of course, in a within one stream. Very important details into this transparency services is what we call the urgent market messages. If there is any disruption in utilities' capacity to produce, this company must provide the information as soon as possible, and we are one of the places where this news must be provided, and we just pass it along for transparency to the whole market. Second dimension, that's the licensing. So that means that the data may be used for further usage. These different usage are all thought of in our conditions, and we are providing clear licensing within one single legal document. So obviously you have the internal usage, so all the data can be used internally for you to analyze, for you to calculate your own PFCs and so on and so forth. But you also you are also allowed by EEX to provide the data to your clients in any form you want. And for that we have different usages in place, which is the media usage or the commercial usage, or scientific in case you're in university. Depending on a use case, then the best here is to talk to us directly, and we go through the whole legal framework together. On the right-hand side, you see the indexation. So we also allow our customers to use the data to create further indices and so on and so forth, even when it comes to the creation of financial instruments. That's something we are open for, and we have also an infrastructure in place for that part. Yes, that was it from my side. So there was a quick overview of our services and licensing. So if you have any question, you can see our phone number and email. And if there is any question now, I'm happy to take them, Carolus.
Excellent, Julian. Thank you very much for a very nice presentation. I will check on the section of Q&A and let's see if we have questions from the audience. Seems to be like none questions. Everything is clear for excellent. Good that so many knowledges were provided and market participants became very smart. By the way, we still have the last presentation, and it will be the topic traders exam. I think it was from the last time there were questions regarding this topic, so I would like to invite Mehdi Alam, EEX Customer Care Officer, and Susanne Dendel, EEX Training Coordinator. So Mehdi and Susan, please welcome. The stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Carolus. I don't know if I should start or Susan will start. So, okay, I will start and share my screen. Can you see my screen? Okay, great. So good morning, everyone. My name is Mehdi, and I will present today the general qualification requirements to become an EEX trader or trader assistant, along with some additional insights into the trader application process. So to qualify as an EEX trader, applicants must fulfill at least one of the following 3 criteria. So either they were trading at EEX within the past 3 years, they hold a valid EEX or Eurex exam certification, which remains effective for 3 years, or if the exam is outdated, they must have a trading experience at an exchange within the last 3 years. We also offer a trader assistant account for applicants who have not yet passed the exam. So the assistant account must be supervised by a responsible trader. This responsible must be an active EEX trader, and he can supervise a maximum of 3 assistants at the same time. This account, so the assistant account, will be automatically promoted to full trader status upon the successful completion of the relevant EEX exam. And if the exam is not passed within this period, the account will be deleted. So all application for EEX exchange trader or assistant must be requested in the member section portal. This platform simplifies various processes, including trader applications, to ensure efficiency and convenience. We also propose a detailed user guide. It's available to assist with the initial steps in the member section. It explains each stage of trader application and termination and facilitate the navigation in the platform. So when the traders pass the exam, they receive a certificate from our training and education department. And we also keep track of the result in our database, SAP. This database is directly linked to the member section portal. It means that all information related to exam certification or trading experience will always appear automatically at this stage of the application. And in case of an outdated exam, the applicants can reply yes to the last question. And then a new field will appear and the applicant will be able to select the relevant exchange where they have recent experience and indicate also the time period. A little more detail about the trader assistant application. So it's basically the same, but with just 2 more steps. Just first, since the assistant account is valid only for 6 months, the applicant must contact training@eex.com to schedule a session and pass the exam within this period, within these 6 months. And just a quick note, it's very important to include all middle names when applicants registered for the exam. to have clean information in our database. So regarding the application process, as I said, only 2 additional steps. First, the applicant must agree with the conditions for the trader assistant account. And second, they need to select a responsible trader in the drop-down list. And just a final note about ongoing onboardings, new members. The assistant account will become available only after the first day of admission. This is because assistant must trade under the supervision of an EEX trader, and we define an EEX trader, someone who was registered at EEX for at least 1 day. It's already the end of my presentation. I will be happy to reply your question if you have any. And I let Susanne take over.
Yeah, seems to be currently no questions. So by the way, let's give the word to Susanne, and after that, let's check if more questions arise.
Thank you, Carolus.
Thank you, Mehdi, and thank you, Carolus. Welcome from my side as well, and thank you for still being here. I make it as short as possible. I'm happy to present the last part, actually, about the trader exam itself. As Mehdi said, it's a prerequisite for the admission at EEX, and we offer this as an online exam with e-learning material for self-study. The exam is divided into 3 parts. The first part is a voluntary part for you, so you could do this preparation tool as an e-learning tool where you can go through all the sample questions we provide. And as you can see on the picture, you would get answers or information whether you answered the question correctly or not. You could also simulate the examination with this preparation tool, but as I said, it's completely voluntary to use this. The mandatory part of the examination is the e-learning system training. This is to understand how our EEX trading systems are working. It's also just a small module, about 15 minutes each, and it includes 3 different trading systems. The other third part is obviously the exam itself. It's a multiple choice question examination. You've got 30 minutes time to do this. You will be supervised during this online, and you need to require 75% of the points to pass the examination. And here a little example, we have true and false questions and ABCD questions. The next and last part is really the application to it and the process itself. So you will receive an onboarding package, not only for the exam, but for all information to become member of at EEX. And within this onboarding package, we will send you a registration form and a little handout with all this information. You would then have to fill in this registration form for each employee that should become a trader or is a trader assistant already then. And then you have the possibility to either send it to your respective contact point at GET Baltic or to us, the training department. There you can see the email addresses as well. And we would definitely recommend not to wait until Q1 2025 to start this process, because as I will show you in a second, it will take a few weeks until everything is processed. So to make sure that all your employees become trader on time, we would definitely recommend to start the process as early as possible. It would definitely be enough to start it whenever you receive your onboarding package. So it's nothing to rush yet, but just as a reminder, please don't wait until January or February. So the process itself is pretty simple. Whenever we receive the registration form, we send out an invitation to your employee for an MS Teams meeting and the login details to the learning management system, where you have these 3 parts of the examination. This will just take a few days normally. Sometimes it happens on the same day even. We decided to bundle the first meeting to several people and that means that we will send out different meetings, and you would have to attend one of them, obviously, but would be together with others. The examination itself will be a one-to-one. This is due to the regulations we have to deal with. If the first meeting has taken place, where we just check whether everyone is familiar with MS Teams, got all information, questions can be asked, etc., then we will send out the invitation to the examination itself. And normally we give participants up to minimum 2 weeks to prepare themselves, but it's totally up to the employee how long they would like to prepare. So depending on personal preferences or availabilities, it can take up to several weeks until the examination really starts and takes place. If so, the examination itself will last, as I said, 30 minutes. And after it took place, we will then send out the notification, the official notification of the examination to the respective employee. And this will also just take a few days. And afterwards, with this document, you can then continue the admission process to become a trader. As Mehdi said, for trader assistance, it would be necessary to do the examination within 6 months. And that's actually all for now from my side. So thank you very much for still being here. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you, Susanne. It was a very, how to say, prompt and easy understand what was provided. By the way, I will check on the Q&A section. Seems to be that in the end we have less participants here, but it's like normal. So let me check if the questions arise. Seems to be here it is. But what exchange trader should have experience to skip the EEX exam if Eurex trader exam was passed more than 3 years ago?
Happy to take this question. So as I said earlier during the presentation, everything is automatized in the member section, meaning that in case of an old outdated EEX or Eurex exam, there will be a new field that will appear. It will be a drop-down list containing around 20 exchanges or a bit more, and you will be able to select the right exchange. The list is available in the platform, and another field with the timeline to indicate if you had an experience in between this date and this date.
Okay, thank you. We'll check one more time. Seems to be that is the examination an online examination or is it at Leipzig? So correctly checked, it was mentioned about online option.
Yeah, it's online only. You would not have to fly into Leipzig.
Okay, so probably no more questions arise. And as I see, if audience will have later the questions, so feel free to contact us. And our second webinar is over. I think it was very valuable and informative for all of you. We hope that you could as well attend the third webinar in June. So we will inform you later. And thank you very much for your participation. It was a pleasure to be with you. And we will share these presentations and recording within the following day. So thank you very much one more time for your attendance. Have a nice and wonderful spring day and see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Ciao.
Bye.
Thank you.